The sound of the African drum, the first of all instruments. The African drum was traditionally used for religious ceremonies, ancestral worship, healing ceremonies, warrior rituals, social dances, as a means of communication to send messages to different African nations and peoples. This goblet-shaped drum is called the djembe drum. It is easily the most popular and perhaps the most versatile of all African drums. Versatile because it can give you so many different tones and sounds. It can give you a rich bass beat, a very rich tonal beat, open tone, and a beautiful slap. Today we look at several different beats, Caribbean beats, African beats, Afro-Caribbean beats. But even before we do that, we just want to say that the African drum is a sacred instrument, very sacred instrument, and a number of rules have been put in place since thousands of years ago. And all enthusiasts, all drummers have been keeping those rules in place. First of all, you have to take care of the drum. The skin, which is of course the skin of the goat, is very important. And usually we say that only the palms of your hands should touch the drum. You should never place your forearms on it or your elbows, as some people are very prone to do. You should never eat or drink over the drum, whether you're playing or not. And you should, when moving, you should never walk over the drum, but you should walk to either side of the drum. Never sit on the drum skin. If you have to play it sometimes, you play it like this. Sit on this side and play it. And you should never use the drum as a table or as a resting place for anything. You should always keep the playing area of your drum free. Those are basically some rules that we try very hard to keep in place. And anybody who plays the African drum should pay that kind of respect to the drum and continue to treat the drum as a very sacred instrument. To play the drum, you hold it facing away from you with the front end of the drum, or the bottom, under you, so that we leave some space at the bottom for the sound to come out of the drum. If you place it flat on the surface, the floor or whatever, you get a muffled sound. If you lean it or hold it up, you get a beautiful, rich sound. To play the drum, first of all, the bass sound of the drum. You should hit the drum with palms and fingers. Try not to keep your fingers too far apart. They should be kind of loose, not stiff. And you hit the drum with the palms, your palm, and the fingers. Hit it as if you are touching something hot, so that it rings and the sound, beautiful sound, comes out. The tone, the open tone, you play on the edge of the drum with fingers only. Same way. Bounce your fingers off to get a rich tone. And the third sound you can get from this drum is probably the most difficult. You have to hit the edge of the drum with the base of your palm while the fingers snap over, and they call that the slap. So, bass tone, open tone, slap tone. Now to play the drum, you basically start with the hand that naturally pulls you to the drum. My right hand naturally pulls me to the drum, and therefore I refer to my right hand as my lead hand. And of course the left hand would therefore be the follow hand. Some people say strong and weak. I prefer to say lead and follow. That's how we play the drum. Now we're going to start with the Nyabinghi beat, which is a Jamaican beat created by the Rastafarians of Jamaica. And basically what I'll do first is to give you the complete beat, and then we take it in stages so you can play along and follow and learn to play the beat. So this is the complete beat of the Nyabinghi. Both hands play a bass tone as well as open tone. That's the Nyabinghi beat. Let's take it in stages. You're going to play two bass with your both hands, one after the other, follow, lead and follow. Let's take the bass beat. One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. We're going to play some tones. You can play different tones on the edge. You can play 1. You can play 2. You can play 3. You can play 4. That's 4. You can play a roll. Let's start with 1. Bass beat is constant. Let's play 2. Let's play 3. Remember 3? 1 with your lead hand, 2 with your follow hand. Let's combine that to the bass beat now. Let's play 4. 4 is 1 and after the next to make 4 sounds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's combine that to the bass. Okay, let's combine all of those now. You can play them in any order. Bass is constant, 2 bass, and you can combine the tones in any order. To add to the beat, we can also play 1 or 2 beats on the edge, on the open tone, before the initial bass. That's the Nyabingi beat. Now, in addition to that, we can also play with that beat a heartbeat, which basically is called a heartbeat because, you know, it's the same tempo as the beat of the heart. You can play it in 3. You notice I'm muffling the sound now. There are times when you muffle the sound when you play the heartbeat, especially if you're playing in a group with people playing the different pieces, bass, tenor, and so on. You can muffle the sound of the heartbeat by holding it. All of that fits into the Nyabingi beat. Basically, the bass beat is which is like every other heartbeat. That is like every other heartbeat. Miss a heartbeat. So the heartbeat will sound this way. That's the Nyabingi. All right, let's look at an African beat called the Yavalo. It's very simple. I play it first so they get an idea of the sound of it, and then we take it in stages, just as we did the Nyabingi beat. Notice there's a distinct bass beat, 2 bass beats in it. 1 bass, and then you go to on the edge, on the open tone for 3. So the lead hand plays the bass, and we go on the open tone for 3 beats. And we add 1 bass to that. Then we add 2 tones, 2 open tones with the bass hand. Important, with the bass hand. So the last part of this beat sounds this way. Take it in 2 parts. And if you put those together now, sounds like this. As you get more accomplished and more experience in this beat, you'll find your hands playing a lot more than just those, 4 and 3, 7 beats. Basically, this is 7 strikes. But when you become more accomplished, you'll find that you're going loud on those 7, but there are also some softer sounds which add to the beat. Look look at my open tone hand, my left hand. And you see it going all the time. But it's going soft on some beats and loud on those basic beats. You can, instead of the bass, you can snap sometimes. You can also do a variety on the bass. Our next beat is the calypso beat, sometimes called calypso, soca. It's the beat of most of the Caribbean islands. And it's very simple. When you hear it played, it sounds very complicated, but we have to take it in stages. It's a very simple, straightforward beat. We play it in basically 4 beats, 4 bass beats. And this is how it sounds. We'll count as we play. With your lead hand playing bass. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we'll bring our open tone into play. The open tone would play and. Still, your bass tone, you're going to play 4 basses, and the open tone would play and only. We go. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 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 1 and 2. 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. We can play it like this as well. And 1 and 2, 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 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, and 3 and 4. Or we can play 2 tones between the bass. Let's go to a rhythm with that same calypso beat. Basically what we're doing there is the bass. We can do a rhythm now. We'll still put in some bass since we're doing a solo performance. If we have to play in an ensemble, we can actually play, instead of the bass, we can play on the edge. But let's do bass with our lead hand. We're going to play those 1 bass, 2 edge. Let's start with that first of all. We're going to add a bass to that. We're going to add an edge with the bass hand. So it sounds, the end of the beat sounds like this. Bass hand in, out. Last beat, let's play with the bass hand. Let's combine that now. variation to that same beat. Bass, bass, edge, edge, bass, tone, tone, bass, tone, tone. Come up with a bass. We're going to add one edge on that. Bass, edge, bass, tone, bass, tone, bass, tone. Speed it up. There's also another variation to that. All of those are the same kaiso beat, and we can look at them again. This one, same thing, same thing. Okay, we change now to and then okay, let's combine them into this beat now. We missed one. Should have told you the lead hand can play this. So you can play this. Combination. Okay, and just to remind you of the bass, normally in our ensemble we'll have one person playing bass, sometimes two, while the others are playing the basic beats, the rhythm beats, or the harmony beats or the lead beat. Back to the bass. this is another African beat called the Swahili. It's also very popular in the Caribbean, especially in places like Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, Jamaica, Cuba, Haiti, where you have derivations of the Shango worship, different forms of African worship. They use this beat quite a lot. Now, this beat is a little difficult because normally we have to start it with our follow hand, or what you refer to as your weak hand. If you realize all the beats that we did before, the Nyabingi, the Yavalo and the Kaiso beats, we started with our lead hand or our strong hand. With the Swahili beat, we started with our weak hand. So you start on the open tone with your weak hand and then go to the bass. Then you go back on the open tone. So five simple strikes, but you're going to feel a little awkward at first because you're starting with your open tone or your weak hand or your follow hand. Just one bass strike in the beat. Unlike the Calypso, for example, the Calypso has 4 bass strikes in the beat. The Swahili has just 1 bass strike. But it's a lot faster than that. Started slow so you could get in the rhythm, sequencing. Get your hand ready to speed up. That's 5 beats. You can also add 2 more. Seven. Five. 5 strikes. 7 strikes. Seven strikes is going to be very difficult if you're playing it fast. That's why we normally have beginners start with 5. The 7 will come naturally as you get into playing. Five is the very basic. Still have the beat. They can still make a beautiful sound without 5 strikes. Let's speed it up now. That's the natural speed of the beat. Bass, you can make a snap. Back bass. Natural speed. Just to give you the bass beat for that same Swahili beat, basically play. One, two, three, bass, tone, bass, 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 tone, bass. Speed it up. Natural speed. Those are the 4 beats we're going to share with you. Hope you enjoy learning, playing along. One thing I have to tell you, you must be at peace with yourself. There's nothing but peace and love when you play these drums. If you're angry, the sound is going to come out angry. It's not going to come out right at all. You have to be at peace with yourself, peace with your fellow men, and all the healing and all the enjoyment will come out of the African drum. So, happy playing.